much for coming. Shall we dive straight in? Trans people. I'm about to attempt one of the most dangerous stunts in all of comedy. What some people are claiming can kill your career, what others maintain probably should kill your career. I'm going to spend the entirety of my time on this stage doing nothing but joking about trans people. Specifically myself, so it's fine, it's good. Don't worry, I am an ally. And more, you know? I've got a lot riding on this. I have a lot riding on the gamble you are going to trust me to do this based solely off the fact that I am dressed like the ghost of liberal future come to haunt Katie Hopkins at Christmas. I can't explain. I have a good excuse. You see, much like my hero, the Siberian Railway, I am also trans. Although I am aware, if you have to make a real point of telling people you're trans at the start, it's probably not going great. Not the easiest thing I've ever done, to be honest with you. I mean, what do you want? If you're one of these people sat there thinking, what's he on about? He doesn't look anything like a woman. Make it easier for me to access the drugs that fix that. I'm on your team, buddy. If you think men should look like men and women should look like women, help me help you. Choo-choo, get on board. This is it. This is the show. It's an hour of tiny hate crimes against myself. Death by 1,000 reeds. The show is called Wokeflake. It is about transition, gender identity, and its dialectical intersections with the culture wars, which I'm aware does sound boring as hell. So I've also included a little narrative bit about a frog. For the dads, you gotta keep the dads sweet. Gotta get the dads on board nowadays. What's this you're watching, son? Ah, nothing, old man. You wouldn't get it. Oh, yeah? Are there frogs involved? Yeah! Yeah, there's frogs involved. Yeah, I'm gonna mention frogs a couple times as it goes, but I'm warning you now, those bits are really weird. So ultimately, this show is aimed solely at strange dads. My OnlyFans demographic. Already got my crowd. I'm a joke. I'm a joke about it. So I'm going to joke about trans issues. I do want to remind you all that at the heart of this are real human beings who have been facing increasing violence and persecution on a daily basis just for being themselves and expressing how they feel inside. So before we go any further, I am asking you, please, leave Lawrence Fox alone. He can't take anymore. He can't. People like Lawrence can't change who they are. They were born that way. Red-faced and screaming for attention. Okay, let's get into it. I want to start by saying that I've absolutely no idea what I'm doing and mustn't be listened to under any circumstances, okay? I don't know what this is. I don't speak for any community. I'm still very new to this. Don't get me wrong, like, I've always known. I've thought about my gender every single day since the age of 10, but I didn't feel able to act on that and change anything until recently because I grew up very lazy and just couldn't be bothered. Had other stuff to do. I'm very good at putting off a long-term project. My taxes, my transition, any form of self-assessment. Yeah, I'll change my gender just as soon as I've sorted out my file structure. Then I'm going to have a big bath. Then there's an iPod I've been meaning to update since 2007. I've been swamped! I've had a lot on, you know? It's confusing. There's a lot to wrap your head around with gender. Like, for example, the difference between gender and sexuality. You know, technically, they don't have anything in common, but they are still somehow together. Wait, no, it's my parents. Sorry, I was thinking about my parents. Sorry. There is a link there, though. I started thinking about my sexuality, you know, after coming out. More recently, I have taken the step of coming out as bisexual, which is huge. It's a big... Thank you, yeah. Yeah, it's a big step. Yeah. Now all I have to do is have sex. Twice, which is a lot. That's a lot. Joking, I have had sex. I have a girlfriend. She's had sex. She told me. My girlfriend's very supportive about me coming out as trans, very supportive. It's not really clear how you come out about something like this when you're already in a relationship. What do? Sit her down and say, honey, huge news, you're gay. Presumptuous. Yeah. Although, to be fair, all of my previous girlfriends left me because they realised they were gay, so this time I'm just covering all the bases. Your move, don't leave. It's time. I never even wanted to come out. I loved being in the closet. It's where all the clothes are. I leave there, that's good for me. I loved being repressed. Being repressed gave an excuse to all my failings. Oh, sorry I forgot the bread. I was too busy ignoring the lie at the heart of my life. Now all my failures are my fault. That's not on, that's no good. We need to be repressed. Society requires it to function. You honestly think if you weren't repressed, you would attend a Zoom call? Nah. Sit there whilst 8 people try to figure out the mandatory minimum amount of small talk before they can start the meeting. Just show us your slideshow. I used to work in a playground equipment factory. They were always showing us slides. Me on Reddit, like, I'm worried I can't be trans because I'm addicted to making dad jokes. What does it mean? I do worry. I worry I'm a bad tran. Like, I don't really get pride, the emotion or the event, but especially the event. Don't get me wrong, I understand its history, its importance to the visibility of our community. But personally, I can't think of anything more straight than marching. Waving little flags. I do worry. I worry I'm a curmudgeon. Like, I'm not very yas. At most, I'm, yep, okay. Can I go now, please? Worried. Like, trans people talk a lot about being born in the wrong body. I was born in the wrong century, you know? Like, literally, the 20th. No one human mind should contain first-hand experience of both the COVID-19 pandemic and crazy frogs. Too much! Live too long and sin too much. Too old. I'm too old to be going through a second adolescence at my age. Do they even make adult Heelys? I don't know. Out of touch with the kids. I don't want it. Let's get this straight for once. I didn't want to be trans. Why would I want to be trans? Have you been online? It looks stressful. They ain't having the easiest time. It's too much to give up, right? Like, I'm sorry, but as far as my parents were concerned, I was born a straight, white, able-bodied male in a Western first world country. That's the best one. Don't give me it is. Have you heard of the patriarchy? It's fantastic. For paters, they love it. You don't roll the dice again on double sixes. Come on, snake eyes. I love being repressed. I was perfectly happy before this voyage of self-discovery, believing myself genuinely to be the only normal one in a friendship group otherwise composed entirely of neurodivergent trans people. I thought I was Louis Theroux on a weird weekend, but no! One of them too! I thought I was doing my job as an ally, which was great. I loved being an ally. Being an ally was the perfect job for me because I don't know if you know this, but being an ally involves doing absolutely nothing at all. Easiest job I've ever had. And I've been a library assistant, so I do know. What do? The allies? They come in, allies, quickly, to the internet, to empathise, to an extent. The queers need us now more than ever, Captain, to pretend to respect their obsession with astrology. It's not... And I'm not trying to come for the Gen Z TikTok witches because they have too much time and energy. They could run me down even in my Heelys. But queers, please, we have to admit there is a clear disconnect between saying gender is a construct, identity is a spectrum, and sexuality is fluid, but the position of Saturn in relation to the moon at the time of your birth is the reason you're bad on email. Like, it doesn't really add up. Sorry for losing my trademark cool there. Just, I have unfinished beef with the astral community. What happened was... Frog Bit's coming up, by the way, if you wish to rouse Dad from his books. A couple years ago, I had this dream. I've never had it before and I've never had it since, so it felt pretty significant. The day after having the dream, I had a mental breakdown, I shaved all my hair off, and I finally came out to myself after about 28 years as trans. Huge day, big day, very busy day. I don't know what triggered the dream. I suspect it was because I'd recently fixed my iPod. That's all I can think. Nothing left to distract me from the horror of myself. I phoned my mum up and told my mum, like, I'm just going through this whole thing. And she's a good mum, like all good mums. She insisted that I seek therapy. I can't afford therapy. As a queer millennial living under late capitalism, I have to spend all of my money on East Asian cinema and clothes. So I did what I thought was the next best thing. I went on Instagram and I paid a warlock to interpret my dreams for me. So it's kind of, I know it does sound a little bit like I've gone off piste, but hear me out. Took 2 messages to arrange a Zoom with a warlock. Gender clinic takes 5 years. You do the maths. I'm smart. Met up with this warlock, we Zoomed, and after conducting the mandatory minimum amount of small talk, he asked me to recount the dream. So I said, I'm in these woods, and it's night. Dim as death, cold dark, moonless night. Wading my way through the blackening woods, beclouded by air swamp thick with the sound of frogs calling me down unto a sleep.
We're going to talk about frogs.
The frog is a perfect liminal character. He's the transition between different worlds.
The frog is an emissary of chaos.
Chaos. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and no other genders. Welcome to Cancel Anti-Wokeflake Snow Culture, the internet's premier livestream podcast where we discuss the biggest issues facing the West today. Can rich straight men still say and do what they want? How dare Harry and Meghan? Where's our blue passports? Bring back frappants! And of course, how do we police women's bodies from the ever-growing threat of trans people? I'm your host, Sam Nicoresti. The name is English. Thanks to everyone who tuned in last week for my fascinating interview with Patricia Turnip about her new book, Little Girl Lost.
Well, what you note in AGP-aligned trans-identifying radicals is an almost Lacanian obsession with the symbolic, pronoun usage, identity markers, etc., alongside an almost Freudian cathexis with returning the cock to the anus and completing the Campbellian cycle.
Yeah, and I think that's just so smart, and like that really speaks to that just being true. That really was a fun interview, but I'm sure I speak for everyone in chat when I say I am beyond excited to announce this week's guest. This is a huge win for the podcast. This has been a long time coming. I know he's a very busy man, but coming up later tonight, we have an interview with the legendary bed-making beefeater himself, the daddy of the Dark Enlightenment, the king of boys and men, Jordan. Need I say more? Jordan is coming. I'm beyond excited. I've read all his books. Didn't really get the one about dreams, but I loved the stuff about tidying up a bit more. I tidy up all the time now, since, Jordan will be sending through the Zoom link in the next half hour. We are just waiting for that email, and then we will be joining him. But first, the big story this week. One-time open mic comedian Sam Nicoresti has released a stand-up special about the idea that they might potentially perceive themselves to be, on some level, in their own words, a little bit trans. Zero-time Oscar Award winner Sam Nicoresti, who uses pronouns and claims to have had sex with a woman of an unknown age, uses their special to take aim at the notion that you can't joke about trans people anymore. Woke jokes, snowflake setups, and punch-down punchlines. You'll forgive me for not finding it a laugh a minute. You, me, Sam Nicoresti, cannot become a woman, no matter how much they, might have at one time wanted to. We all experimented at one time or another. I mean, I don't know a single man who hasn't deeply struggled with the fundamentals of their sex for several decades. I mean, I know I have, questioned as a younger man. I've been to the Rocky Horror Picture Show dressed as a lady. If you see those photos online, that's what that was. It was pre-drinks at a house party before going to the Rocky Horror Picture Show dressed as a lady. And the reason I'm in that position is because I was tired and needed a lie down on my friend's big pink cushion. This is a perfectly normal stage in male development. Because facts are facts, people. You cannot change nor famously learn new information about and update facts. The fact is, a man cannot become a woman any more than a woman can become a man, or a man can become a horse, or that horse can become a god. I'm sorry, being a woman is a little more complicated than that, but also easily definable in a single phrase: adult human female. A female being a creature that produces eggs. Once you understand that, you understand women. All women. Women have shorter spines, dainty little hands and feet, and carry around small little bags that no one's allowed to look in. What's in the bags, women? What's in the bags? No one knows, because women have their eternal ways. Trans women now threaten to expose those ways by opening the bag, turning it upside down, tipping out the contents and saying, look, there, that's what's in the bag: some lippy, a tampon, phone, keys, wallet, and mace. Now, thanks to gender politics and woke chicanery, women all believe the moon has special powers. Instead of a blonde, a brunette, and one ginger, women now have blue, pink, green, and mauve hair. They have taken polyamorous lovers called things like Sage drive a motorcycle, and they don't answer my texts. Rebecca, please, come home. Bring the kids and come home. The oven is on and I don't understand how to turn it off. Sometimes I wonder, was it worth it? Was it worth losing everything over one stupid tweet I made that got taken the wrong way? And then the subsequent 7 years of doubling down on and expanding upon my opinions in that area. The answer is yes. Complaining about one single thing for a living has been great for my career and mental health. I have my fans. I don't need kids. I've been accused of weaponizing transphobia for the sake of my career. Nothing could be further from the truth. I support trans women. Some of my best friends are trans. Exclusionary radical feminists with whom I will occasionally disagree over small matters of technical phrasing, because I really do believe real trans women really do exist. The sensible ones I personally find attractive, but blue-haired left-wing trans radical activists called things like Sage with lip piercings who drive motorcycles are coming for your kids. They came for mine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can say you're the opposite sex all you like. You don't fool us. We can always tell. I personally can positively ID the natal sex of any humanoid at 500 yards with 100% accuracy, like some sort of crazy turfinator. How do I know I always get it right if I never ask them afterwards? Because I can always tell. It's a circular argument. The strongest argument. Still no word from Jordan here on the emails. I think maybe we need to take a break here. Yep, okay. So we will be right back with more Cancel Anti-Wokeflake Snow Culture after we feed the frog, the algorithm, a word from our sponsors.
I said all that to the warlock, and he said, I've no idea what you're on about, mate. That sounds mad. No idea. Let me go away, Google frogs, I'll get back to you. Never heard from him again. Never heard from him again. 35 quid that cost. Google frogs, my mum was livid. Should have seen it coming, really. I'm not sure if people are brave enough to be talking about this in the culture right now, but generally speaking, received wisdom is a warlock not to be trusted. 400 years since the Enlightenment, and yet somehow we are still learning that a qualified mental health professional is not the same as a tricksy wizard. In the end, I decided, how hard can this be? I will interpret the dream myself. So I did, and my conclusion was the frog was my soul telling me that I'm trans. And if you're confused by that, just imagine how I felt. I had to go to the doctors, the real one this time. And they ask you, when did you know? Was it playing your sister's Barbies or when you realised you didn't like football? No, a frog came to me in a dream and told me a story about a ghost. Now, it feels like a good time to admit I've no idea what I'm doing here. Like, you are not in a safe pair of hands with me right now. These are hands that have a 100% success rate of meeting a fist bump with a handshake that turns into an awkward grab. I don't know. Can't master the basic greetings, let alone a metaphysical question of self. I don't have the answers. I'm one of these people that thinks everything should be explored from all angles and no conclusions drawn. Play devil's advocate, see both sides of the coin. Why not? What's happened to us now, huh? As a people, online, we're disagreeing for the first time in human history. It's like we've forgotten that there are in fact two sides to every coin. The side with a factual statement of value and the side with a person whose family have historic ties to Nazis. Two sides of perfectly equal weight. I don't know. I know that it's hard because obviously the algorithm has eroded an informed consensus into this smooth unfreedom in which option is illusory and everything slides to extremes. Like, you watch one video that's slightly critical of trans people, suddenly that's your entire feed for months. You get radicalised in the deluge. That's what happened to me. I got radicalised by right-wing thinking. What? I did. I watched 5 seconds of GB News. I thought, nah, that makes no sense. I'm wearing skirts from now on. Not that I don't think that clothes are necessarily gendered, you know, fashion changes. All clothes are unisex if we all just put them on, right? Because only women's wear so long as only women wear it. I do think that the internet has freed us from this now because we can order what we want privately. We can experiment within our office cell-like apartments. Capitalism has queered us all and set us free. It's so beautiful. I get everything online now. I get my drugs online. They come straight to my front door. It's fantastic. I no longer need to meet sketchy men in car parks for that. It's perfect. No longer need to go into the new look, stand awkwardly near the dresses, saying just loud enough for the sales assistant to hear me. Oh, yes, I'm sure this is the one she wanted. Yes, I'm sure this is in mother's size. You know what I mean? I do what I want. I'll do an entire special about one thing. Just you try and stop me. I love this show. This show is how I came out. The first time I ever spoke about any of this was on stage. I don't think that's so weird. I believe that gender is performative. I'm a performer. I think the stage is more real than life. I think art is a method of communion with the soul. Also, I think it makes all my clothes tax deductible. I'm not sure on that. But I love the idea that Angie Neal's tax is paid for this dress. Thank you, Daddy. I love coming out. I know I said I love being repressed before, but she lied. I've been coming out about stuff for years, man. Transgender, bisexual, questioning. Running out of stuff to come out about at this point, to be honest. We're really scraping the barrel at this stage in my career. Genuinely, recently, considered coming out about my Myers-Briggs. That's how bad it's got. That's how bad it's got. INTP is a pretty rare one. Yeah, and a Scorpio, and according to 2 independent online quizzes, a Sigma. So how about that? Back on Reddit, like, I'm worried I can't be trans because I have the brain of a lone wolf. What does it mean? First thing I ever came out about, 22 years old, I came out to all my friends as non-binary, and they all reacted in exactly the same way. They went, oh, that's amazing, man. Sorry, mate. I congratulate you, good sir. So certainly, 'tis a fine day to be non-binary, my little dude, my little duke. Just wanted to wear a pair of dungarees from Lucien Yak, not inherit a peerage. This is too much. That's why I loved it when Queer came along. Oh my God. Do you remember when Queer rebranded? Oh my God. I use Queer all the time now, which is very brave of me, because I have no idea what it means. Not the foggiest, and I refuse to look it up because it's my truth. Can't let me Google my truth, too busy being queer. People on the right wing, the anti-woke pundits, they love to say, oh, queer, it's too vague a word. It's just a way for middle-class white kids to co-opt the language of oppression. All right, I'm white. I'm obviously very middle-class. I'm so middle-class that when trying to write a joke about how middle-class I am, I ask my working-class girlfriend to do it for me. Could you please hurry? It's good. She did a good job, I think. I like it. Listen, I love being pedantic about language. It's one of the middle-class diagnostic criteria. But for me, the joy of queerness is in its vagueness. Like, we're not nation-states. Our borders are fluid. I think we tend to define ourselves against what we're not, feel ourselves the keenest at the edges of other people. I personally think trying to put labels on that can be quite restrictive. I don't care about labels. I've never cared about labels. I'm always messing around with labels, switching them up. That's why I got fired from the morgue. That's not my son! I know, am I a man, am I a woman, am I a beautiful, non-binary, trans, feminine, bisexual comedy icon? It's not for me to say, not for me to say. All I know is that Queer cuts through all of that and says, I've no idea what I'm doing here, but I'm having fun. That's lovely, that's froggy. I think we need that elasticity in our language as our concepts grow. My only issue is, as a word, queer, did we have to choose a synonym of kooky? Because it doesn't help. It does not help our case. When my family look back on their tree, I want them to see that they were related to somebody that lived their life openly with an unapologetic conviction to the truth. I don't want them to think, oh, look at that, Uncle Sam was a bit of a nutty goofball. I am not a clown. I'm a comedian who wears makeup and big shoes, but I'm not a clown. I drive a normal-sized car containing a sensible amount of men. I think so much of queerness, and by extension transness, seems to come down to how you present, right? Like your pronouns, your clothes, your hair. And I'd love to get one of these beautiful queer haircuts, but I worry, like, I'm losing my hair. Getting male pattern baldness. What the hell? Being misgendered by mortality now. That's hardly on. Guys will always tell you the same thing as well when it comes to hair. They're always just like, oh, just shave it off. Oh, just shave it off, man. It will look amazing. Oh, when it starts to go, just shave it off. Oh, just shave your hair off, man. When it starts to go, just shave it off. Grow some facial hair. Look beautiful. Look luscious. I tried that when I had my breakdown. Blow me. I look like a boiled turtle. It's disgusting. Disgusting. I made a solemn vow to let it grow long, and I started to see this person emerging in the mirror I'd always wanted to see. A sort of windswept, Bronte-esque heroine. So I thought until I saw a photo of my nana from the 80s. Yeah, just like that. Just like a little woman called Margaret who drives a bus. That's me. I look like I'm one pair of bottle lenses away from joining the Warrington Ladies Bingo Club. And I would. I'd love to be in a gang. That'd be sick. Me and the nanas tearing up the harvester, getting each other's pronouns right. Pronouns. Like, what do I know about pronouns? I only just learned what an adjective was. And it was very nice. Get these people, they say, there's too many pronouns now. They, them, ze, them, they, ze. There's more pronouns than there are people by my own internal logic. Every single one of those people, one for one, loves the king. Name a more ridiculous pronoun than the royal we. We/one. Huh? Only one guy can use it, and you better believe it's compelled speech. We got this guy on the throne, yeah, Charles. He's recently changed his titles, his labels, his identity. He's now going around openly calling himself a divine embodiment of the will of God upon the face of the earth. But I want to wear little pants and suddenly I'm delusional. Like, I don't know about that King Charles III. Prince of Wales, to dead name him. It's so weird. It's so It's so weird to be going through this deeply personal question whilst you're constantly being dissected like a frog in the public eye. Like, all the time, trans people, trans women in sports. You heard about this? Oh. I've got a controversial opinion on trans women in sports. I think trans women in sports are a conspiracy by the sports lobby to trick trans people into caring about sports. I thought the whole point of becoming queer was I'd never have to talk about football again. You've tricked me somehow! You and Lineker, he's deep state, he's in the pocket of Big Chris. They really think they've got us nailed on sports. Oh, look at these trans women, they're so good at throwing, they've got an unfair physical advantage. I thought the whole point of sports was someone has an unfair physical advantage. No, it's not my scene, but is it someone's born with good knees and then they win, right? If I'm in a race with Usain Bolt, I'm not standing there like, well, this isn't fair, he can run faster than me. That's sports. One person wins. 99% of professional sports players are losers for a living, and I don't care who hears me say it. Also, it's not just a gendered thing, because believe me, if I started playing women's rugby, those women would snap my spine. The subtext of these arguments when it comes to trans women is always the same. Men are pretending to be women in order to invade female-only spaces. Sports, prisons, toilets, lush. Always the same. And don't get me wrong, I think you're naive if you believe there are no bad actors in society, especially when it comes to a rush on bath bombs. But the insistence of these people on this image creates a false picture which leads to a dangerous narrative which fuels a hostile environment. As if it weren't already hard enough for queers in this country to use public restrooms. We have our dungarees on. We're imprisoned in complex jumpsuits. We have zips where no zips should be. We need time. We need space. That's why I became trans. To infiltrate the female loos. It is. Are you kidding? Have you been in there? Everyone gets a private booth. Like, there's a sofa. You can bring a friend. It's cushy. Swanky. It's softly lit. Don't send me back to the mess hall. Men sloshing their effluvia into the communal gutter like dogs. I want the rarefied salon life. Ladies discussing politics upon the sofa whilst waiting for a booth to come free. The toilets are confusing, I get it. Like, I love turning up to a gig dressed like this, asking the duty manager where the toilets are, and then they clock me halfway through, like, toilets, mate? Yeah, they're through that door there, or through there, and then you either go along a long corridor or down some stairs, take a left, turn right, you'll see one of two doors. Based on how the symbols on that door makes you feel that's where you should do your business. That's too much! I think that's why gender-neutral toilets are quite good. I do think we've still got some way to go. I believe we do still need segregated toilets in this country. One gender-neutral toilet and one toilet for people who don't know how to sit down when they pee. Some sort of UV-lit wet room for those freaks. Let them just let the piss fall where it may. But otherwise, I think they're fine. And I don't get why, like, hack comedians hate them so much, taken to the airwaves to express their opprobrium at the gender-neutral toilet brigade. I thought hack comedians would love gender-neutral toilets. Haven't they always wanted to know what women are doing in there? Why do women spend so long in the toilets? Why do they always go to the toilets in twos? What are they doing in the toilets? Shopping! Sir, you may now go in and find out for yourself. Although I suspect the answer is spending as long as possible away from you. And they sit there po-faced on their podcast. Oh, you can't joke about anything anymore, despite not having written a single new joke since Brexit. Saying, no, it's not that, it's not funny, because what we're concerned about is men dressing up as women, going in there and committing assault. Let's be clear. That's a crime. It is horrible, it is inexcusable, it is unforgivable, it is a crime that men commit all the time, wherever they please, without feeling the need for elaborate disguises. I'm not trying to joke about assault, not trying to make light of women's safety, but if they care so much about guarding the women, why do they only talk about doing it in the Wagamama loos? Never in the streets or their jobs or on the buses or in their homes. Not on the boats, not from the police, and never in the corridors of power. But when they're pissing and pooing in the prep, well, then society should take a stand. What's wrong? It's duplicitous. It is using violence against women to perpetuate further violence against women. We need to talk about women's safety in all areas of our society, including trans women. That's not what the culture wars are about. The culture wars are a grift. They're a political distraction, and the washed-up commentators and hack comedians who peddle it are useful idiots and tools of a hateful ideology who want to say to all trans and queer people, you are not welcome in public. You won't be granted basic dignity in public space. Stay at home. Keep it in the closet. It's one thing to come out. It's another thing to go outside. And, like, I'm not trying to Nanette my own special, but I just can't pretend it's not serious, because it is, you know? Like, of course you know. If you're here in this room or watching this, you probably already largely agree. Nobody who didn't made it past me making fun of the king. They're gone. We can say what we want. I'm not changing minds. What does it matter? Why not claim you got queered by a frog in a dream? I'm not going to justify my existence any more or less in their eyes. They'll look at me and say, I'm not listening to that. That's a man. That's just a man in a dress. And like, yeah, okay, yeah, that is all I've done. I've put on a dress, because that's all that's open to me. You have to do something. You've got to start somewhere. Because people tell me, oh, gender's internal. I am telling you now, you cannot come out as trans and then do nothing. You got to give them something. You got to grow your hair. You got to put on a statement fleece, fly a fabulous kite. You got to give them something to hold on to. Like, clothes aren't gendered, society genders them. If I put on a dress, go for a drink with my girlfriends, they're all like, oh my God, who is she? Here she comes, so brave, slay queen. But then I put on trousers, go for a pint with my mates, they're like, oh, you've stopped all that now, have you? All right, yeah, seems stressful, fair enough. Well, welcome back to being a straight man. Just to go over the ground rules, we don't discuss emotions and we take the round system way too seriously. Yes, pronouns don't change my biology. They change my social reality. Not that it matters. Everywhere I go, I still get misgendered. Excuse me, sir, can I see your ID? Sorry, mate, you can't go in there. Somebody stop that man. Good God, he's got a gun. Microaggressions all the time as I'm trying to rob the bank. Just trying to live my life. After a while, you realise, I don't need this. I don't need to argue with myself or anyone else about this. Especially not with a bunch of people who all worship J.K. Rowling. A person second most famous for pretending to be a man in order to invade the male-only space of modern crime fiction. I don't need you to be gender critical of me. Thank you, I have it covered. It's like there's this monitor in my head all the time, trying to internalise all these arguments, resolve them one by one. Eventually, you have to realise not everything in life can be rationalised. You just have to embrace the questioning. Get a little froggy with it. Because gender is a frog. Beautiful and strange. Traumatising to dissect. But the more you pull it apart, the less it resembles anything at all.
The thing about confronting the thing that you're afraid of is that the thing that you're afraid of is genuinely terrifying, and it can actually eat you. And it's eaten plenty of people before you. And so it's no joke.
Come back to
Place.
Bro Vulture. Apologies for the technical difficulties. We are now back online. Still waiting on Jordan to send through the Zoom link, but that's okay. I know he is a very busy and gracious man. A real role model to all men. Because men don't know how to be men anymore. They've been cucked out of their fair share by culture. Traditional models of masculinity leave modern men confused. You can't punch a forest fire. You can't deadlift a continental ice shelf back together. Men feel redundant, left behind. Whose fault is that? The oil companies, the media corporations, the people with money, the people with power? No. It's trans people, ladies and gentlemen, and no other genders. It has to be. It's what I spend literally all of my time thinking about. I'm grateful to my wife for taking herself and the kids out the house so I can focus on podcasting full time. If only that oven wasn't so damn scalding hot. I'm a man. I can take it because I'm a man, and that's what men do. We take enormous amounts of emotional and physical pain, and we push it all down, and we never deal with it because that's fine, because we're men, and we'll look at it later because that's what we are. We're men, and I am a man. I'm a man. I am a man. I am a man. I'm a man. I am a man. I am male. I am male. I am male. I am male. I am male.
You've got mail.
Jordan's here. Everything's going to be all right because Jordan is coming and we're going to talk about trans people and... Jordan cancelled me. That is... That is not what has happened here. Ladies and gentlemen, and no other genders. No. This is part of a wider conspiracy by the crazy cult of woke. Unfortunately, the comfortable COVID cohort have united with the pronoun pro-mask protesting, statue toppling, lonely Ramona voting losers. This is a clear attack by the avocado-eating, drum-beating, BLM, LGBT, QIA+, AV referendum voting, climate change protesting, pre-decimalization denying, weed smoking, cyber tarot, pagan vegan, pansexual, polyamorous, wokey-cokey Corbynistas. There is a plot against me and men like me, and the only solution is for us to come together and start eating raw meat. We need to unite the patriarchal Abrahamic religions and eat raw bull dick in the woods. We need to regain our masculine virility. We all have to meet up and guzzle dick in a very non-gay way. The only solution to the cultural Marxist plot is for all men to start retaining their own semen and exercising their anuses through mixed martial arts. Because they are putting cum in the water. They are putting cum in the water and it is making our children trans. They are sneaking into my room in the dead of night and stealing my hairline. I am talking about goblins, gentlemen. Goblins are disguising themselves as pronouns and climbing inside my anus for a laugh. What's happening? What's going on?
You have been demonetized for violating the terms of service. Prepare for disconnection.
What is this? Are we online?
You have been demonetized for
Why are we
violating
online?
the terms of service. Prepare for disconnection.
We're not streaming. Okay.
You have been demonetized.
Can you
for
reconnect our
violating the
stream,
terms of
please?
service. Prepare for disconnection.
Hello?
You have been demonetized for violating the terms of service.
What terms
Prepare
of
for
service?
disconnection.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You
I
have been
can't.
demonetized
I'm
for
sorry.
violating
Can
the
I?
terms
Yeah.
of service.
Can you put a man
Prepare
on,
for
please?
disconnection.
Yeah. Okay.
You have
Can I,
been
love?
demonetized
Hello.
for violating the
Can I
terms
speak
of
to a
service.
man?
Prepare for disconnection.
Excuse me,
You have been
darling.
demonetized for
Sweet cheeks.
violating the terms
Can I
of
speak to a
service.
man, please?
Prepare for
Excuse me, lady.
disconnection.
My duck. My little
You have been
fairy cake. Can you put a man on, please?
demonetized for
Please
violating
let me
the terms of
speak
service.
to a
Prepare for
man. Can I
disconnection.
speak to a man?
You
Can
have
I?
been
Can I
demonetized
speak
for
to a
violating
man?
the terms
Can
of
I
service.
please? Can I
Prepare for
please speak to
disconnection.
a man?
You have
You want me to
been
beg? Is that what you want? You want me to beg?
demonetized for
Fine. I'm
violating the
sorry.
terms of
What do you?
service.
What do you
Prepare for
want? I'm
disconnection.
sorry.
You have
I'm
been
sorry.
demonetized for
Please,
violating
just
the terms of
I'll do
service.
whatever you
Prepare
want.
for
Say
disconnection.
whatever you
have
want.
been
Just give me back my login.
Prepare for disconnection.
The misogynistic, homophobic, and frankly bonkers concept of
Cancel culture is narcissists,
people who aren't marginalized in any way, predominantly white,
hiding in their safe space,
spewing abuse.
transgender people.
in reality, it's just men bullying women all over again.
These people are
Pathetic.
And it's really starting to get boring now.
People need to stop caring about this stuff. Just shut up.
It just makes me mad.
It's so ironic. You are the problem.
This is a weapon for a very authoritarian, very intolerant,
Corrupting, tyrannical patriarchy.
Taking the piss, quite literally. Welcome to hell.
Wake up. Wake up, love. Wake up now.
Told you it was weird. Don't say I didn't warn you on that one. It's weird and confusing, but full of joy and a little bit of magic. That's how it feels. Okay, that's about all I wanted to say, really, although I can personally think of no queerer way to end this show than by giving an overly sincere thank you speech and then letting off a glitter cannon. So I hope I've bared my soul well this evening, because that's really what it seems to be all about, the soul. It's about whether or not you think there's something beneath all your boundaries and your layers, your clothes, your labels, your skin, bone, basic biology, that's indivisibly you, who you truly are. That sounds to me like an argument about the existence or non-existence of the soul. And I just don't think we're going to get the answer to that on the Joe Rogan Experience. Somehow. And besides, either you do believe in the soul, in which case, fantastic. We are ghosts who dream, piloting the dust of dead stars through a universe of magic. We are immortals in flesh vessels, and what is the binary in the face of infinity? Or you don't believe in the soul, and therefore there's no God, nothing after this. We are totally alone, totally screwed, and all we have is each other. We are the sole architects of our own meaning, and we can construct new ways of being. It's just a question of what world do you want to live in? Because right now, it's a scary one. Trans people are dying, they are being killed, they are being forced to repress who they are and live in shame and fear because of a vocal minority who think their lives are a joke, and they're not. And I just want to say thank you to the trans community and the queers and the gays and the lesbians and the bisexuals and the asexuals and every other spectral affiliated human being. Thank you for fighting to make this a world in which people like me feel more connected and less alone. Thank you. And if you want to live in that world too, it's simple. All you have to do is get online and start empathizing to an extent. Thanks so much for watching. Turn off your monitors and embrace the frog. I've been Sam Nicoresti. Cheers. Thank you.